A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Random House Audio presents Star Wars, Dark Nest 1, The Joiner King, by Troy Denning. Read for you by Jonathan Davis. Evening had come to Unity Green, and the first hawkbats were already out, dipping down to pluck YAML gels and Kufi eels from the rolling whitecaps on Liberation Lake. On the far shore, the Yorick coral bluffs that marked the edge of the park had grown purple and shadowed. Beyond them, the Durasteel skeletons of the rising sky towers gleamed crimson in the setting sun. The planet remained as much Yuuzhan Tar as Coruscant, and in many ways that would never change. But it was at peace. For the first time in Luke Skywalker's life, the galaxy was truly not at war, and that counted for everything. There were still problems, of course. There always would be, and today several senior masters were struggling to address the chaos that Jaina and 4 other young Jedi Knights had caused by abruptly abandoning their duties and departing for the unknown regions. Lobaka was the only one who completely understood the biomechanics of the Maladoth, Corran Horn was saying in his throaty voice. So, as you can see, the Ramoan relocation project has ground to a complete standstill. Luke reluctantly shifted his gaze from the viewport to the council room speaking circle, where Corran stood using a laser wand to highlight the holographic projection of a huge Yuuzhan Vong slave ship. Corran flicked the laser wand, and the holograph switched to the image of a blast-pocked asteroid miner. The situation in the Maltorian mining belt is deteriorating as well. Without Zek there to lead the hunt, Three Eyes pirates have the run of the system. Raw material shipments have fallen by 50%, and Replanet Hab is trying to buy them off. That's one circuit we need to kill now, Mara said. Seated in the chair next to Luke's, she was, as usual, the first to cut to the heart of the matter. If rehab conglomerates start buying off pirates, we'll have marauders popping up all over the core. The other masters voiced their agreement. Fine, Corran said. Where do we find a replacement for Zek? No one rushed to answer. The Jedi were spread too thin already, with most Jedi Knights, and even some apprentices, already assigned 3 tasks. Finally, Kip Duran said, The Solos should be finished on Borau soon. Maybe Replanet Hab will be patient if they know they're the Solos' next assignment. Strictly speaking, the Solos were not available for assignments. Han wasn't even a Jedi, and Leia's status was completely informal. The Council just kept asking them to help out. They just kept doing it, and every master in the room knew the Order had been exploiting the Solos' selfless natures for far too long. Someone else needs to contact them, Mara finally said. It's getting so bad that Leia cringes whenever she sees Luke's face on the holocom. I can do it, Kip offered. I'm used to making Leia cringe. A subtle eddy in the Force drew Luke's attention toward the entrance. He raised a hand to stop the discussion. Excuse me. Perhaps we should continue this later. We don't want Chief Omas to know how concerned we are about Jaina's departure. We don't? No. Luke rose and started toward the door. Especially not when he's bringing Chiss. Barely a moment passed before the door hissed open and a young apprentice came to a surprised halt directly in front of Luke.
Master Skywalker,
the young Rodian stammered.
Chief Omas and...
I know, Twool. Thank you. Luke stepped into the doorway and found himself looking at Chief of State Cal Omas and a trio of blue-skinned Chiss. With a wrinkled face and sagging jowls, the Chiss in front was probably the oldest Luke had ever seen. The 2 in the rear were clearly bodyguards, tall, strong, alert, and dressed in the black uniforms of the Chiss Expansionary Defense Fleet. Chief Omas, Luke said. Welcome. You're expecting us. Omas cast a pointed glance into the conference room. Good. Luke bowed to the elderly Chiss. And Aristocra Mitswecleone. It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance. The Chiss's red eyes narrowed to crimson lines. Very impressive. It's not easy to gather identity files on Chiss aristocracy. We haven't. Luke smiled and continued to block the door. You and your bodyguards are welcome to come inside once you have removed your hidden weapons. Omus cringed visibly, but Luke did not move. Mitswecleone smiled like an old man caught sipping something against his doctor's orders, then pulled a small holdout blaster from his boot and passed it to a bodyguard. Luke stepped aside and waved the two statesmen toward the conference circle. Please join us. At the conference area, the Jedi Masters rose to greet their guests. Everyone knows Chief Omus, I think? Luke motioned Omus into a chair. This is Aristocra Mitswecleone from the Chiss Empire. Please use my core name, Swek, the Aristocra instructed. Of course, Luke said. Swek has some disturbing news for us, I believe. Swek's wrinkled brow rose. Then you know the purpose of my visit? We can sense your apprehension through the Force, Luke said. I assume it concerns our Jedi in the unknown regions. Indeed it does, he said. The Chiss ascendancy requires an explanation. An explanation? Corrin was not quite able to conceal his indignation. Of what? We demand an explanation of your actions, of course. What happens on our frontier is no concern of yours. The Chiss frontier aristocrat? Saba Sabatine, one of the newest Jedi Masters, asked. Of course. Swek turned to the Barrable. You don't know what your Jedi Knights have been doing, do you? It appears I have no business here after all. Obviously, the Jedi involved in this matter are acting on their own. Involved in what matter? Kip asked. That is of no concern to the Galactic Alliance, Swek said. My apologies for taking so much of your time. No apologies are necessary, Luke said. Anything in which our Jedi Knights involve themselves concerns this council. Then I suggest you do a better job supervising them in the future. Swek turned to Omus. I'm quite finished here, Chief. Of course, Omus said. An escort will meet you at the temple entrance. I believe I need to have a word with these Jedi. In that case, I'll thank you for your hospitality now. Omus waited until the Aristocra was gone, then scowled at Luke. Well? Luke spread his hands. At this point, Chief Omus, you know more than we do. I was afraid of that. Apparently, a team of Jedi have involved themselves in a border dispute with the Chiss. How can that be? Mara asked. Their destination was over 100 light years from ascendancy space. Then our Jedi are out there, Omus said. What in the blazes for? We can't spare one Jedi at the moment, much less 7. Mara's green eyes looked ready to loose a stream of blaster bolts. Our Jedi, Chief Omus? Forgive me. The Chief's voice was more placating than apologetic. I didn't mean to imply anything. Of course not, Mara said. She turned to the rest of the council. Mitswecleone said 7 Jedi. What do we make of that? This one only counts 5. Saba lifted her hand and began to raise her taloned fingers. Jaina, Alima, Zek, Lobaka, and Tessar. Kip added 2 fingers. Tekli and Tahiri? Omus frowned. How could you know that? I thought they were with Zonama Sikot in the unknown regions. They're supposed to be, Corrin said. But, like the others, they're also Merkur survivors. I don't understand, Omus said. What does this have to do with the Merkur mission? I wish we knew, Luke said. Undertaken in the middle of the war with the Yuuzhan Vong, the Merkur mission had been as costly as it had been successful. Anakin Solo and his strike team had destroyed the enemy's Jedi-killing Voxen, but 6 young Jedi Knights had died in the process, including Anakin himself, and another was missing and presumed lost. All I can tell you is that for several weeks, Jaina and the other survivors of that mission reported feeling a call from the unknown region.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?